Is there, from what you can talk about, like comparisons of how James Gunn is kind of running DC and then how those Kevin and all them are running Marvel? And there's some.
Yeah, I mean, I think what James and Peter are doing, because they're a great team, is
You're listening to Studio 22.
Welcome to Studio 22. I'm your host, Will Meldman, joined by always Brock O'Hearn. We are here with legendary actor and action star Frank Grillo. Frank, how are you?
I don't know if I'm legendary, but I'm good, man.
Hey, man. In our book, you're legendary, bro.
It's all that matters to me.
Yeah, bro. Dude, I was looking at your IMDb, and I've seen so many of the films that you've done. They're amazing, dude. But I was like, man, if I had 2 months to sit down and just watch all your stuff, I don't think I'd get through everything.
No, I know. You know what? You know, that's a good thing and sometimes a bad thing. And I'll tell you guys something. I don't know if you're married or not, but I was married for 20 years, and about 4 years ago, I got divorced here in California. And I decided to give her my house at the beach and a lot of money every month, and a lot more money. And I had to work when I was done with the divorce in a 4-year period. And then COVID came. I had to do a lot of movies that I not necessarily wanted to do. And but I'm okay now. I'm okay.
That's good, man. You bounce back.
Yeah.
Yeah. You look at your IMDb in 21, 22, definitely 23 and 24. You got a lot, man. You got a lot.
Yeah, I did.
You got my whole career in 1 year, dude. That's awesome, bro.
That's so cool.
It's fun.
Man, and thank you for sending the Lights Out screener so we could check that out, your new film.
Yeah. Did you get a chance to see it?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, cool. Yeah. You know, it's one of those gritty kind of throw a bunch of great people together and make one of those fun kind of subculture movies and it was great people. That's why I did it. You know, Mekhi Phifer. I love Mekhi Phifer, another New Yorker, Dermot Mulroney and Scott Adkins and Jamie King. It was not easy to do, but fun. Yeah,
it's action packed. It's gritty. It's fun. It's, you know, I really did enjoy it. That's really cool.
Cool.
Yeah,
that's good.
There's those jobs you take for pay, and then there's ones that, like you're saying, when you get to work with people you like, man, that's what makes it all worth it, I think.
Yeah, you know, I got a partner, you know, his name's Joe Carnahan. He did Smoking Aces and The Gray, and we did Boss Level together and Wheelman and Cop Shop and shit. And when I'm on set, it like no matter what happens, when I got my dude next to me, it's like, we got this. Not a problem.
That's
you
awesome,
know what
bro.
I mean?
Yeah.
Other times you're around people who are a little, you know, sensitive, and you know, if you got a problem, it's a problem. Yeah. So
right.
I like the people that you can just show up and, you know, you just, if you need to get shit done, you get shit done, dude.
Yeah. And if it's not working, you don't panic. You say, okay, what do we do to fix this?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that's, you know, my old man's an immigrant from Italy, and when something went wrong, he didn't panic. He's just like, we'll find the solution. Let's find the solution.
Yeah.
It's the only choice. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah, I love that. I mean, film is such a collaborative art form, right? It's all about that team and working together to achieve the same goal, right?
At its highest level, it is. But at times, you can be surrounded by incompetence, and you got to impose your will, protect yourself.
Yeah,
you got to impose your will, and then, you know, to some people you're an asshole, and to other people, especially when they see the finished product, they go, "Oh, I see what happened," and it's a good thing. And it's a good thing you did what you did. Otherwise, we'd have been screwed.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's an interesting. You know, people think you just show up and say words and go home.
Yeah. It's not that. Yeah. It's
not that.
Infinitely more difficult to make a film than people think, man. And like you're saying, there's not only that. There's the dynamics of ego and different personality types and so many moving parts. You know, then if you all of a sudden you get weather and you got rain coming through the rooftop, and all kinds of different things happen. You get thrown every curveball in the book, but exactly what you're saying. It's how you handle it, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
You know, Carnahan and I made a movie called Boss Level. It was great. It's me and Mel Gibson and Naomi Watts.
Yeah.
We had 44 days. We had 44 days on the schedule to make the movie.
Wow.
2 nights before principal photography, the producers call us up and they said, we can't do 44 days. We don't have the money. It's 27 days or you got to pull the plug. Now we're in Atlanta with 180 people. Like
Damn.
we're supplying jobs to 180 people, and we're like, we got to go home and figure this out. So we were living together. We went down in the basement. We had the set all made and the miniature model, and we stayed up all night. We drank about 3 bottles of Jack Daniels, and
Thinking juice.
We came to a schedule where we squeezed it out in 27 days.
Damn.
That is
Any other time you had to shut the movie down.
You cut off a third
and we made a great movie to the point where at the end of the movie, the great Mel Gibson, who's directed some amazing movies, he said to us, "I don't know how you did that. I don't know how you guys did it." And I said, "I tell you how. We did it together.
Yeah,
we had each other's backs." And so, and anyway, I digress, but that's when it's at its best.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? When you trust the people standing next to you.
And by the way, I love that movie too. And that concept, and like that concept of you're in a video game, you have a certain amount of lives, and you're like going replaying it Groundhog Day. It's such a fun concept, and to think you guys did that in less than a month.
27, and by the way, all the repeat action when I die every day, we didn't use the same footage. I did it different every time. I was exhausted. After that movie, I was supposed to fly down and do a movie with Neil Blomkamp in South Africa. I had to go into the hospital from exhaustion.
No way.
I was spent. Yeah, it was crazy. And but I thought the movie for what it is, I thought it came out really cool.
Absolutely.
Awesome,
I had the pleasure of meeting Selena Lowe actually.
Oh yeah, she's great.
She was fantastic in it, right? That was She talked
she's a good girl.
Yeah. She talked about how much she loved the experience and all that. It was kind of cool.
It was great. Good.
Yeah, you talked about exhaustion, man, and you do a lot of action films, especially. I mean, even Lights Out, there's tons of action. A lot of fighting, a lot of martial arts, and how much goes into preparation for you? Because you're obviously in freaking great shape, dude. I mean, I see you at the gym every now and again, and you're crushing it, and you've been in shape your whole career, man. What goes into like how do you prepare for that?
I mean, the thing we do. My partner in crime is a guy named Greg Fitzpatrick. Greg was stunt coordinator and stunt double for Ben Stiller on all his movies, and Downey and Robert Downey Jr. in his movies. And he's about as good as it gets, right? And he's also a fighter. He's Muay Thai, kickboxing, boxing. We train together. So a movie like this, where there's no time and very little preparation, him and I go to work, and we want to make the fights authentic. So we basically say, this is how it's going to go. Right.
Yeah.
And this is where the camera is going to go. And this is what you're going to do. And this is what you're going to do. And for the most part, people understand that we've been doing this for a long time at a high level. So they kind of let it go. Sometimes you deal with egos, but in Captain America, you have a month, 2 months, every day you're with the boys rehearsing over and over and over and over and over. And, it's a fine-tuned machine.
Yeah.
I like doing it both ways. It's fun both ways. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's high level problem solving, man. Like, and to me, like
that's what it is.
Yeah, it gets my juices going. It gets me like it's how do we solve this problem as efficiently and effectively, and then be able to tell a great story at the same exact time. And a lot.
Exactly right.
Yeah, what you're saying though, a lot of that comes with experience, right? Like when did you? What was your first like action role? Like I was reading up and it said you started in plays, right? You did plays in high school and then you're doing some commercial work and then you got more into film and TV. But
yeah, bro, I was just a struggling actor. I was a guy. I didn't even take it seriously for a while. I mean, I started out in soap operas by accident. Yeah. Like all my friends came to LA to be actors. I just came to LA, right?
Yeah.
And so, and my first like experience was, I went with my buddy Ricky to an audition for a show called Friends. Now, I went with him because I drove him there because he didn't have a car. And I was sitting with him, right? And the girl came out. He went. The girl came out and said, when are you next? And I go, no, I'm. She goes, no, you should. Are you an actor? I go, yeah. And I went in and she gave me a piece of paper and I just kind of read it off the paper, right? And she said, stay here. And the other person came out, was a producer, and I read it for them, and they said, we need you to stay here. Wow. And I was reading for a role called Joey.
Wow.
On Friends, right? Now, obviously, I didn't get it, but I went through a process. Like, I screen tested.
Wow.
And I had never done any. Yeah. And that was kind of like, I went, oh, maybe I could do this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
I would.
And like anything, like fighting or any sport or riding dirt bikes, when I wanted to do it, I had to go to the best person to learn how to do it. Like when I wanted it, I thought I was going to be a professional motocross rider. I had to find the best motocross coach to teach me about riding motocross.
Yeah.
When I wanted to fight Muay Thai, I go to Thailand with Bo Kao, the best Muay Thai fighter on the planet, and I want to train with that guy.
Yeah.
Right? So I did the same thing. Like I sought out the best teachers that I could find to kind of crash course me in what this is about. But it wasn't until I did the movie Warrior with Nick Nolte, and I was around Nick Nolte a lot, and he had a big binder, and that was his character, and I was like, what the fuck is he doing? And that's when I said, wait a minute, I want to be that. I want to be that actor. I want to be that kind of an actor. I want to go deep into this, or I don't want to do it. Yeah. Like it's kind of stupid if you're just kind of, I don't know, showing up and saying lines, right? You want to understand what this was. And that kind of started it. But I did everything from soap operas to sitcoms. I did everything I could possibly do until my buddy Gavin O'Connor put me in Warrior at the ripe old age of fucking 40 something. And I still looked like I was 28. Yeah. But it was so convincing. Like ASU, the guys called me to come and coach them on the wrestling team. I'm like, hey guys, I'm not really a coach.
That's incredible,
wow, dude.
But that's when it started to get deep. You know, I did a movie called Pride and Glory with my buddy Gavin O'Connor, with Ed Norton, Colin Farrell, and John Voight. And again, I was watching these guys do it in a whole different way. Yeah. And I was like, I want to, if I'm not going to do that, fuck it. I'll go do something else.
Yeah, but that's such a cool like mindset to have too, because you're just giving more to the craft at that point. You're giving more to the audience, and like that's like if I want to go to the theater and go see a movie that I'm excited about, if the person just showed up and maybe they're drinking all night or whatever, and you can tell they kind of just went through the lines, weren't committed to the character, whatever, that's not entertaining to me, man. That's like, dude, you took me out of it. What you're doing is taking people more in, right?
Right. And you as an actor know, like you might be excited about a concept for a film, and you put on the movie and you're like, oh, they're terrible. These people are terrible. I watched some Australian series last night that my girlfriend had on. I'm like, oh my God, I could see the words on the page. I mean, they're so like,
that's the worst, man.
Every comma and ... I could see it. I could see it. It's terrible. They just showed up. Like they got the job and they just showed up. And so this is a long way of coming back to this. I've been fighting my whole life, from wrestling to boxing to Muay Thai, jiu-jitsu. I've been doing jiu-jitsu for 20 years before anybody knew what jiu-jitsu or UFC was. And so when I got the opportunity to combine that with like Warrior, it was the role that kind of, and although it was a smaller role, everybody saw it. And so I became, in their eyes, this certain guy, which Hollywood lacks guys. Dudes. And I got some role. I got some parts, like it started to happen a bit. But I was old, man. That's why I tell people there's no rules. I hear people go, I'm 33. I'm like, so what?
No, man. I mean, to be fair, dude, I deal with that every now and again. I've been in the industry for about 10 years now, and I think every now and again I'm like, it's slow. COVID was slow. Actually, one of those roles that I did saved my life, man. It brought me back out of it, brought me back in. I'm like, dude, this is why I do it. I love this, man. Doing the Righteous Gemstones. But it's to your point though. Like even after the strike and everything, it's not work for everybody all the time. Not everyone has that luxury, right? This is such a gift to do this,
level.
Yeah, exactly.
At any level, because when you get to a certain level, the things you're being offered, you don't want to do.
Yeah.
Right. And like my agents at CAA have recently said to me, hey, you got to stop doing these movies now. Like when I got divorced, I did some shit that I shouldn't have done, but I had to. And the money was crazy. It was like, that's when you get the money, when the movie's not so good.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So, but now it's like, it's diminishing returns, because if you do too many of those, you're done.
Yeah.
You're done. And then you're kind of like, sadly, because you're still a great actor, guys like, Eric Roberts are forced to do some things. Like I remember Eric Roberts from back in the day when he did Pope of Greenwich Village. He's an amazing actor.
Yeah.
But now there's a cautionary tale to that story. And you don't want to be the cautionary tale.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's at this point in my life, I got to be careful. How about that? I got to be careful about what I do and don't do. And, you know, I'm about to go do this movie, which is based on a memoir. It's a beautiful story, and there's no fighting, and there's no killing, and it's based on this guy's life, this journey he has across. It's like a coming of age story for a middle aged guy, and I couldn't be more excited to just go and act. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just to go do that and go deep into somebody's, spiritual, emotional, and physical and intellectual journey. That's you know, as an actor, that's what you want to do.
Yeah,
I mean, I could fucking throw punches all day. You know, it's like, so what?
No, man. Yeah. And there's that, like, you know, people see what you're good at and they want to see more of it. Right. And they kind of get in that line, but dude, you have the skill set to do anything, man. You know, like,
because of that process.
It is about the work. It's just about the work. Like I don't know what talent is. Like Tom Brady's a talented guy, but Tom Brady works hard.
Yep.
There's a lot of guys that were much more talented than Tom Brady when he was young.
Oh,
right. Yeah. Then he worked real hard, and he worked harder, and then he worked really hard. Yeah. And so for me, it's like I get a script, I'm going to read it 50 times. There's a script in every room. Anywhere I sit down, I pick it up, right? So that I'm more prepared than that guy. I'm more prepared than I can sit down and talk about all the characters, and I know what they all say and why they say it. And so it's about work. It's about work ethic.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
100%. I love that Tom Brady analogy of, you know, talking about how hard you're working and your process. And I loved the film Warrior, and knowing that, you know, you took that from Nolte and that really resonated with you. That's really cool to hear.
Yeah. And, you know, other actors should know, like, that role wasn't on the page. It wasn't on the page. The whole third act wasn't there. He was in the cage, never said anything. Gavin O'Connor said, my brother, this is what I want you to do. I want you to create Frank Campana. I want you to create everything you would say to him. And I went down and lived with Greg Jackson, who is the best MMA coach on the planet. He let me come down and live with him. In the gym was George St. Pierre, Keith Jardine, Cowboy Cerrone, a guy named John Jones. And so I got to live there for a month. And I came back. I said, Gavin, I got this guy, and he's very important to the movie. And he did. He became important to the movie.
I mean, that's like Peter Berg level, like method training, and that's amazing.
Yeah, and that's Pete's a good friend of mine. Like, he's a good friend of mine. No, yeah. Gavin O'Connor, Joe Carnahan, Pete Berg, all part of the same. We're all part of the same kind of friend group.
Very cool. Makes sense. Makes sense.
Yeah.
So speaking of, well, I guess we were earlier. Marvel and, you know, playing Crossbones and being in that world. And I love hearing about the amount of preparation that you went into it. But what's it like kind of filling those shoes of a huge Marvel character and like being in that world? And was there a lot of prep that went into that as well?
Yeah, there was a lot of prep. There's a lot of rehearsal. There's a lot, you know, I wanted to know as much of what the character was. I wanted to not make him just a cardboard cutout of a character. And he's not a very big character. You know, he's a tertiary character. And, you know, you're on set with Captain America and Iron Man, and, you know, those are the guys, you know. And so it's interesting. Crossbones isn't on screen very long, and Crossbones changed my career. Crossbones is on screen for like 12 minutes in 3 movies, right? Now, Brock Rumlow is the iteration of who he is before he's Crossbones. He was in the movies a bit more, but Crossbones in the uniform isn't in the movie that much. And I knew that. And I said to myself, I have to make sure this guy pops. I have to make sure, in a world where there are superstars with better costumes, I got to make this guy pop. And so what dialogue I had, I turned it upside down, and I played with it, and I made it funny, and I made it fun. And somehow that character in the minds of the audience is an integral part of those movies.
Oh yeah.
And he's not in the movie. He's not in the movie that much.
And that's, you know, it's awesome hearing you say that, because he is bigger than life, right? And like, it's essentially, you were a part of what most fans consider the best films of the most successful film franchise of all time, right? And now that there's 30 or whatever movies, it's like, what's it feel like too to be like in, Winter Soldier, Civil War, they're considered the best ones, right?
Yeah, I think script wise and story wise, I think they were the best ones, and they were shot very practical. There wasn't a whole ton of special effects, and I take pride in saying that those were good movies.
Yeah,
those weren't just good Marvel movies. Like those were good movies, and I think, and I was just with Joe Russo and Anthony Russo and Kevin Feige and Lou Esposito, and I'll say this, being friends with them, I think they lost their way a bit, and just it was about how much they could put out. But when you go back and watch Winter Soldier, that's a film.
Yeah,
that's just a movie, man.
Yeah,
and I mean Robert Redford, and it was mind-boggling.
Yeah.
But again, I said to myself, you got to pop. You got to find a way to pop, or you're just going to get lost in the shuffle. And that's a great thing for actors to know.
Yep.
It's not about how big the role is; it's about what you do with it. It's about what you can do with it, man. So, now I'm in DC. So now we just finished Creature Commandos, the animated series, which is a hard R. It's Gunn wrote every episode, directed every episode. Great cast, a really great cast. And I'm doing Rick Flag Sr., and I'm in the DCU world. And now I'm in a lot of things that are coming in the next year and two. I can't talk about them, but it's going to be real fun. Go play that guy. Yeah,
that's so exciting.
That's awesome,
that's so exciting.
Yeah.
We'll have to get you on in a year when it's all coming out and talk about it then, man. Yeah, that's cool, man. What's honestly, like, as an actor, what's your favorite process of making film, man? When did it like hit you that this is the fucking best job in the world?
Yeah, I started out, I did soap operas, I was on a sitcom, and it was all kind of a blur to me. And then when I started the process of understanding what a script was and how to score a script and the structure of the script and how important that was and how lines were unimportant and just to learn your circumstances and all that stuff that I guess you go to Yale Drama School to learn that I didn't get to go to. But all of that stuff that it's the foundation to the whole thing. It's the best part of it, man. And then when you get in a round table situation with the script and and you're just kind of reading it and throwing ideas, the journey to the set is far more interesting than the set itself, man. It's the journey. It's all the practice. It's all the rounds of sparring and, all the laughs in the gym, and it's the cuts and the bruises and all that stuff and all the learning of the nuances of fighting. When you get to the ring, it's just like, now it's my job. I got to go do this and do it well.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
You're prepared.
But but when I learned how to prepare, it's when I really fell in love with it.
That's incredible. That's cool. I love hearing that.
Yeah, man. The more that I've dove into this world, into in Hollywood and filmmaking, everything, I found that the best, actors, the best, even directors and creators are the ones that are the best at researching, man. The best at really like diving deep into someone's psyche or what makes them tick and who they are and like down to their personality type, the more work you can do in that, and when you go and you're ready to perform, you already did it. It's already there. You're it.
That's right. And you know what? It never ends, man. Like as much work as you do, you could still do more work. And I panicked recently. About 2 years ago, I did a movie called Lamborghini about the life of Ferruccio Lamborghini, and it was being shot in Italy. Banderas was playing the role. He dropped out because of scheduling, and Bobby Moresco, the director who won an Oscar for Traffic, he called me and he said, "Look, I got a movie. We shot about a quarter of it with the kids. Banderas can't do it. I think you could do it." I go, "When?" And he said, "You got to be in Italy in 6 days." I said, "How am I going to do that?" He goes, I think you could do it. I go, "You think I could do this?" I go, "All right, I'll do it." I read it. And then I said, "All right, I can do this." I said, "Get me an accent coach on set. I need an accent coach. And I need to recede my hairline. I need to do some stuff makeup wise. I need beautiful suits. If you promise me that, I'm there." And he did it all. And he promised me all that. And I went, and it was kind of flying by the seat of my fucking pants. I read the book that his son wrote, which the movie's based on. So I had a little bit of information, but other than that, I was like, I can't, there's no more information I'm going to get. I don't have time. Now I got to use my imagination. And that's the greatest tool of an actor is your imagination.
Yeah.
And so not a perfect movie, but a really good movie and well made. And I had a great fucking time. Again, not throwing punches or killing people or saving the world or blowing the world up, but wearing fancy suits and being an Italian middle-aged car maker.
Hell yeah.
And I'm like, in Rome. I'm in Rome. I'm in Tuscany. I'm like, you know, so as an actor, it's like sometimes you don't have the preparation time. So it's just it's an interesting life, man. As you know, it's got a lot of ups and downs. The very best of them are worried about their next jobs. The very best of them, I promise you. But I wouldn't have it any other way. I wouldn't do any other thing for a living. I probably couldn't, but I also wouldn't.
No, that's great, man.
Yeah, that's awesome to hear, like, how much prep or, you know, cautions you can take when going into something super short notice. Right. It's like accent code, but even like reading the book, right? Like, I'd feel like a lot of people may not even do that. Right.
Oh, no way.
Yeah.
Read a book.
Right. No. Exactly.
No,
so it's like,
no.
Even those things that, you know, would essentially be like minimal last second prep for you are still things that people are overlooking out there. And I think is really valuable for young actors or aspiring actors to hear.
Let me tell you something. I'm getting, you know, so my first day I'm there on the set with Gabriel Byrne. I mean, you know, these are heavyweights. Mira Sorvino's playing my wife. I think she won something called an Oscar, you know, so it's like, you got to show, you're not just showing up. You got to show up knowing that you're, you know, standing across formidable people.
Yeah.
And they do the work. There's no accident to success. They do the work. I promise. Nobody doesn't do the work. You might not like them as an actor, but if they're successful, I promise you, they're doing a lot of work.
Yeah.
And so that's the through line to it all. It's just, you got to do the work. And that's what I tell, I got 3 kids. I beat the shit out of them when it comes to doing the work and do the work. Yep.
Hell yeah.
I mean, that's the best advice you give somebody really when it comes to their own success, their career, and taking control of your own life, man. If you want something, the way you get there is to outwork everyone else, like, and to be at the top.
All day long.
Yeah.
All day long, and create positive. You know, Jordan Peterson, who was very controversial, but, you know, he says, start with fucking making your bed.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you something. I tell my kids, especially my oldest guy, he's 26, directed his first movie, but he lives with me currently, but, you know, he leaves his room in the morning and it's a shithole. And I said, hey, buddy, that's indicative of your brain. That's indicative of what's going on in your mind. You're scattered, man.
Yeah.
I said, I would never leave my room. You're stepping over clothes in your room to get to the door. I mean, no, man, you got to be organized. You have to understand it starts here. So I kind of instill that into my kids.
To be honest, that's such great advice too, because I had you mentioned a lot of finding the best people, right? So I've had mentors in my life too that have helped me along the way in so many different walks of life. But one of the things that one of them taught me was exactly that. It's like, well, are your dishes done? Or did you make your bed? Did you do this? Right? And it's like, the reason is because if you're not, your psyche, your subconscious or whatever is going to be focusing. And one, it's a representation of your mind, right? But it's also, if that stuff's not clear, when you're supposed to be doing the work, you know, you got to go home and you got to, sink full of dishes. It's like, that's going to distract you from the purpose, you know, from what your purpose
is.
That's
right. That's exactly right. And by the way, it takes 2 minutes of your time to make the bed. Why do they do it in the military? Not because they need to have fucking, it's because that's where it starts, right?
Yep.
And it's got to be good. You're right.
Yep.
Take pride in it. You know, take pride in making the bed. And I'm telling you,
so many people like do things to avoid success.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
You know, but it's interesting having kids, man. Especially I had 3 boys.
Yeah.
Oh no, my family's 3 boys.
It's a responsibility.
Yeah, for sure.
There's this quote I love by Aristotle. He says, "We are what we habitually do. Excellence then is not an act, but a habit." So we're creatures of habit, right? Everything that we have and do in life and who we surround ourselves with, we create habits. And if you surround yourself with people that have shitty habits, you're going to pick up some shitty habits. It's just the way that we're wired, right? So making the habit of making your bed right in the beginning of the day and starting off with a healthy habit on the right foot, you're just setting yourself up for success. You know, it's so funny because people think like, oh, you got to make your bed, like whatever, you know, it doesn't sound that important. It sets you up for the whole day.
I'll tell you, it's the same thing with eating. You know, hey man, it's fun to drink, but it's two things. It's poison and it will get in the way.
Yeah.
It will get in the way. Do you know what I mean? You don't eat well. If you don't eat well, you put anything in your body, it will get in the way.
Yeah.
You know? And so my whole jam is about, I want to be as efficient for as long as I can be. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because there's, young studs like you right behind me. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man.
And pretty soon I'm gone. That's it. It's your time. It's your turn. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
but that's the thing too. Like there's guys like you that are doing it and that have done it, and you're paving the path. And it's like, look, guys, this is the blueprint. This is the reason I've had the success I've had. So pay attention, and when the time comes, your time will come eventually. But and then it comes down to, again, just not quitting. That's one of the hardest things in this. I feel in this. I got so many friends. Yeah. That's what I tell people. I was like, I wouldn't do this career path, as an actor, if I didn't know I could make it. And the reason I know I can make it is because I know I'm never going to quit.
That's it. And that's it.
Yeah.
And that, by the way, listen, what's the worst thing in the ring you could fucking do? Is take a knee, man. Give up.
Yeah.
What's his name? Fucking Ryan Garcia got a fucking shot to the liver and he sat down. A world championship fight, you sat down. The guys I train with are old timers. They lost their mind, right?
Yeah.
You do not quit. You do not quit.
Yeah.
And that's a metaphor for life. I mean, it's a cliche to talk about boxing in life, but it's true. You don't quit. You put in the work. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You don't complain. Nobody gives a shit.
That's true.
But at the same to that point too, someone else has it worse, man. That guy that didn't quit has a broken rib and he's broken eye socket and he's still going.
Right. That's right.
So it really comes down to that mindset and just being a force of just never stopping. And I think if someone's going to come knocking at your door and they're knocking and they're slamming the door and they're kicking it, eventually they're going to get in, right?
Yeah.
So it's just it's how hard are you willing to go? I think, man.
And that's it, man. It's like I got a 31-year-old girlfriend. Thank you very much. And she's an actor, and I listen to her. Sometimes. Like she can't believe she's not further along. And I'm like, well, what are you doing to make yourself that somebody needs to put you in something, to take a chance on spending their money on you? Because everyone's got a pretty face.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody in this fucking town is in shape and kind of good looking. Do you know what I mean? What are you doing every day to be better?
Yeah.
Right? So that when you do show up, you stick out a bit.
Yeah.
And somebody says, oh, I need that.
Yeah.
Right?
I love that.
So,
and that's just exactly to your point about what you're saying about, you might have a character like Brock and Avengers and these other in Captain America, but it's like, you might have a short time, but what am I doing to stand out? What am I doing to make myself known and remembered,
Right, man. I'm up against fucking Chris
Evans.
Evans. I mean, he's the best looking white guy I've ever seen. You know what I mean? And he's a great dude. And he's, you know what I mean? And it's like, what am I going to do? I'm a 5'10" Italian dude from New York. There's no Captain America where I came from.
Yeah. You figured it out, man. You figured it out. That's for sure.
What were some of your favorite moments on set with Chris and on set of the films? Was it just tons of training and tons of prep, or were there some?
Yeah, the training's always fun, and it's a great group of guys. It's the top of the food chain. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Sam Hargrave, who was not even the stunt coordinator, he went on to become. He directed Extraction and he's become a hot director. We're around a lot of talent and fighters. They're all fighters. Sam Hargrave doubled Tom Hardy in Warrior.
No way.
Oh, wow.
Oh yeah.
Sick.
Sam is a badass fighter, man. Badass fighter. I think he was like a purple belt in jiu-jitsu. And so these are really capable people,
Yeah.
So, a lot of it was in between being on set. That was the most fun. Because it's like being in college with your football team. I mean,
That's awesome.
It's a great time, man. Just a lot of dudes. And the guys who weren't in the movie who were extras or stunt guys, they're studs. It's a bunch of dudes, man. It was fun. It's like being in the Army.
Yeah, that's awesome,
man,
bro.
that's so cool. How does that experience kind of compare and contrast with Lights Out? Because Lights Out, it certainly has tons of action and tons of cool stuff going on. So I feel like
you know, fortunately, I love Mekhi Phifer. We're good friends. We've done another movie together since. So that was a good experience. But, you know, this is a movie where it's not a lot of money, but there's a lot of art. Some people know what they're doing. Some people don't know what they're doing. Some people who you wished knew what they were doing didn't know what they were doing. And I have a thing about me. When I get frightened, I get angry. And so if I'm creatively frightened, I get mad. When I get mad, sometimes I say, and I'm a little bit, you know, rough around the edges. That happened in this movie a little bit. But the producer, Brandon, was so open creatively and a creative spirit himself that I think he managed to really keep this all to a place where we made a cool little genre movie. Do you know what I mean? But it was difficult. But the people were great. You know, all the actors were amazing. They're great actors. And so they're very competent. But the experience was not Marvel.
Yeah, that's awesome. Sounds like a good time for sure with all that action and the good people for sure.
Yeah, it was great. Listen, they're all like children. They're all different. You love them all for different reasons, right? Some of them give you a pain in the ass, and others are just like, wow, that's my golden child.
Yeah, right.
That's all it is.
Yeah,
but you do love them all, and the people are. You know, it's about the people. The people are all fucking. Yeah. You know, we're all here just trying to do good. You know.
Yeah. I mean, I've experienced that too myself, where there's even films that I don't think are going to see the light of day that I've been a part of, but I met the best people, coolest people, and now people I'm working with outside in different projects, different films from that one, you know? So again, it's you find like we're all here, man. We're all dreamers. We all want to tell great story. You know, we want to watch movies as much as we want to make them, you know, and share that with everybody. And I think when you find that commonality behind everyone here, dude, that's when you start finding people like, dude, well, not only do you like, you know, cage fighting and filmmaking and drinking or whatever the through line is, right? Like, I like you, man. Like, we got a lot of common, man. We should start hanging out, you know, and then go make more.
That's how most of my friendships today are, what they're from, is that commonality. You know, we're all kind of like these fucking lost cosmic orphans. We're all looking for something, man. Like, it's a weird thing to be an actor. It's like, you know, there's this connection that we all have because we're all kind of misfits.
Yeah.
So,
definitely,
you know, a lot of them are handsome and pretty misfits, but misfits nonetheless.
Yeah.
You know,
that's funny.
Yeah, there's something behind not like I cannot commit to a 9 to 5, man. I cannot, like, it's just my mind. It just doesn't. It doesn't compute, you know. And
I tried it.
Yeah.
You know, I went to school for finance, and a good school, and during that whole thing, I can't do this.
Yeah,
I'm not doing this. I'll sell drugs.
Yeah, yeah, man. It's something, you got to do something different. You got to do what you got to do. Yeah, but it's hard to explain, man, because there's been a few sets too where I just know people had a terrible experience. Like, say our director was just miserable and didn't know what he's doing, didn't treat people right, whatever it is. And it was their first time. And I remember saying, like, them telling me that they're never going to work on another film again. I was like, damn, that sucks, because this is the best thing in the world. It just happens.
It is. Everybody wants to be in the movie business. Everybody I meet wants to be in the movie business.
Yeah.
Successful people, athletes, finance, everybody wants to be in the movie business. It's a gift to be in the movie business.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. Is there a script or a character or something that you've had in your back pocket for, 20 years or whatever it may be that you've always wanted to do, you haven't tackled yet? Is there something like that?
People ask me this all the time, and I wish I had really a cool answer. And no, I love to kind of be surprised by stuff. Like, I have two things right now. One is a limited TV series, high level shit, and another one is this movie, American Wino. And if you have a minute, the memoir is worth reading. I'm just excited when I get surprised by what people have created. Yeah. And then I get to kind of take my interpretation and take it where it goes. And, So I wish I did. I wish I had there's this guy, I want to play this. Blah, blah. Like I hear people say such interesting things. And I'm like, fuck, I got to make something up.
But I mean, you're also kind of doing it, right? Like being able to be in Marvel and then now DC. I mean, these are like such sought after legendary things, right? So like, is there, from what you can talk about, like comparisons of how James Gunn is kind of running DC and then how those Kevin and all them are running Marvel? And there's some.
Yeah, I mean, I think what James and Peter are doing, because they're a great team, is the actors that kind of signed on for their first project, which is Creature Commandos. This is their studio now. They want those voice actors. They hired them as actors, so they want them to infiltrate the whole DCU world.
Very cool,
right? And so you wind up, like we just got off the phone last week, and it's like you're everywhere in all kinds of things, and it's really fucking exciting. And they want you to build the character with them. It's not like this is who Spider-Man is, and this is, it's like, and I think for the most part, Marvel let the talent that they hired, which is the best in the business.
Yeah.
I mean, Downey created that out of nowhere. Yeah, I mean,
insane.
He's ridiculous. I mean,
you can't imagine someone else doing that. Like
no,
nobody could have ever done it.
No, I think people say no, anybody could do Captain America. I go, no, not now. Chris Evans is Captain America.
Yeah.
I mean, certainly Hemsworth is Thor.
Yeah.
I mean, the guy was. I mean, have you ever been in person? Have you ever seen the guy in person?
No.
He's like 6'4", 6'5", maybe the best looking dude I've ever seen in my life. Yeah. Also built maybe better than Thor.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's like, who are you going to get?
Yeah.
Who are you going to get?
Yeah.
That's amazing.
That's it, man. Instead of a character, I'm thinking more, is there, you've worked with some of the most amazing talent in the world, man. And is there anybody that you haven't worked with yet you want to work with? You throw it out there?
Yeah, and it's more of a nostalgic thing.
Yeah.
I've become really good buddies with Stallone. And, I was just with him. He said, God bless him, mid-70s stud.
Yeah.
And we were going to do something together. We were going to do the remake of one of his films as a limited series. He was going to direct, called Nighthawk. I was going to play his character, but then he got Tulsa King.
Yeah.
And it's got him all over the place. So I'm looking to go and do something with Sly, before we're both dead.
No,
that's awesome.
Dude. Yeah, I look forward to seeing that, man. You guys would be great together in anything you do.
Yeah,
that'd be cool.
I love him.
Hell yeah. Well, I know I know we only got you for a limited time. But I really did appreciate, seeing Lights Out, and I loved it as a fun action film that I think people are going to be really excited about. And this was, such a treat. I mean, how exciting, man.
Yeah.
Oh, you guys are awesome, man. It's good to talk to brethren. It's like,
man.
when you find as they say, the other members of your tribe, right away, and you know what you can say and you can't say. And, so I appreciate talking to you guys.
No, likewise, man. And really quick, do you want to share where the movie is coming out, Lights Out, and where people can find it?
Yeah.
It's February 16th, right?
Yep, Lights Out, February 16th. It's in a few theaters, but it's basically across all platforms. It'll be available pretty easily. And it's fun. It's a fun 88 minutes or whatever it is. And, as long as you're like me, that's all I care about.
That's all that matters, man. No, dude, appreciate you, brother. Dude, really appreciate your time, man. Thanks for coming on and sharing your stories with us, and dude, for your freaking awesome body of work that you've gifted the world with over your life, man.
Thank you, brother. We'll talk soon.
Man. Absolutely, bro.
Awesome.
All right, man. Have
a good weekend. Thank you for watching Studio 22.
Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.
And follow our socials at Studio 22 Podcast.